I just had a conversation with a certified financial planner yesterday that I want to deconstruct for you because I think there's quite a bit of learning that you can have from me going through this conversation with you when it comes to radically differentiating yourself from other financial advisors in the minds of affluent, successful clients. So, what we're talking about is how to be a financial advisor who, in the mind of the client, is a cut above the average financial advisor. Now, a lot of what I'm going to talk about is very unique to our methodology of delivering truly comprehensive financial services. And we're not going to deal with that particularly. I want to talk specifically about the mismatch between the standards of what the professional has in their mind as to what excellence looks like as far as service delivery versus what the client has in mind. Specifically, I'm talking about affluent, successful individuals and families that you'll be serving. In this call, mismatch was so dramatic, I thought it was worth going through. So you have the advisor on one hand who thinks, here's the standard that I'm delivering to my clients. That's far in excess of anything else that's out there. In other words, they think they are radically differentiated from every other, in this case, certified financial planner. But the client has a different set of standards. Now, I'm going to walk through it with you, but it's going to boil down to this. Once you're aware that there's a difference between how you define excellence in terms of service delivery versus what the client has in their mind in terms of what they are expecting in terms of excellence when it comes to service delivery. How do you explain the difference? I always contend it's got to be one of two things. That once there's an awareness of the difference between the standards, that the professional has made a decision. The professional has decided either that they are unable or unwilling to deliver at the client's level of excellence. Okay. So we'll talk about that. I think there is actually a third option. It's called the Dilbert filter. Are you familiar with Dilbert, the cartoon? Scott Adams, who draws the Dilbert cartoon, which if you haven't checked out Dilbert, you should. It's funny. But Dilbert is a study. It's a cartoon that studies office behavior. And if you look at life through the Dilbert filter, you realize there is a third option, that the advisor is either unable to deliver at the client's level what they desire, or is unwilling, in other words, has made a decision, we can't afford the time or the whatever it takes to deliver at that level, so it's unwilling to. But if you look at life through the Dilbert filter, there is a third option, and it is incompetence. that there is a mismatch, at least it's possible. There's a mismatch between the competence of the advisor and the reality of their skill. In other words, they think they're a lot better than they actually are. I think that you have to be at least aware of the Dilbert filter as an option. Now I'm going to go through the story. So in our model, which really makes no difference to you, but in our model, there is an advisor who is the lead advisor. We call this the trusted advisor. This is the advisor that the client has hired to coordinate all their financial affairs, to get their financial house in perfect order and keep it that way forever. Otherwise known as truly comprehensive financial services. In other words, an ongoing service to make sure that clients are on track to their goals, that there are no surprises, no financial surprises that could have been avoided by good planning, and the client's making better financial decisions than they ever would have without hiring this trusted advisor. Now, in our model, the trusted advisor could be anyone. It could be the client's tax accountant who's decided to deliver truly comprehensive financial services in addition to their regular tax services. It could be a money manager, a chartered financial analyst who has a boutique money firm who has decided to offer truly comprehensive financial services as a business within their normal business. Often it's a certified financial planner or some sort of a financial advisor who's already doing some form of planning. It's just that this level of planning is a cut above and represents what we call truly comprehensive financial services delivered at a higher level for a small community of ideal clients within their firm, and they're delivering it at a level that's unavailable really any other place for that client. So that's the environment. And what we recommend is that there are 5 areas of personal finance in the client's life. So we have financial planning, money management, insurance, estate planning, and tax. So you've got these 5 areas. What we teach and what we recommend is we show them how to go out and build a team so that you've got a skilled, experienced expert in each of these 5 areas. Who I was talking with yesterday is the certified financial planner to do the financial planning component of the comprehensive financial strategy. For those of you that aren't quite following, it's each of these areas require their own comprehensive strategy. So what is the certified financial planner charged with doing in our model? In short, the advisor hired this certified financial planner to create strategies and tactics. How about that? Does that sound complicated? Does that sound unusual? Or does that sound to you like reasonable, basic, fundamental rationale for hiring a certified financial planner? Financial planner focuses on pretty much 2 things primarily, although the one financial planning is unique in this way, it touches all the other areas. In other words, there are tax, estate planning, and insurance aspects to financial planning, in that the financial plan encompasses all of that. But financial planning at its heart, at least in our methodology, focuses on the client's objectives, the client's goals, and the financial planning process. In other words, look at it as though, let's say a client has a very skilled, experienced tax accountant in their life. Let's say you're an affluent family. You've got a tax accountant that's skilled and experienced covering tax. You've got an estate planning lawyer that's skilled and experienced covering estate planning. Let's say you've got an insurance expert that you've worked with for years. So they've got somebody covering that area. So what's left? In comes financial planning to cover everything that there's a gap. So the 2 primary focuses of the certified financial planner in our model is to have a plan, in other words, strategy, to create a strategy to achieve the client's goals. So the client's goals and objectives are the focus of the certified financial planner, as well as everything else that's falling through the cracks. In other words, I call it the financial planning process, which is the certified financial planner makes sure nothing falls through the cracks, given that there are other professionals working with this family. Okay. So I sat down with him because I was asked to call this certified financial planner because it seemed like there was a miscommunication between the trusted advisor, the lead advisor who owns the client, and this certified financial planner who the advisor had contracted with to create the comprehensive written lifetime financial planning strategy for the ideal client family. I was talking with the financial planner saying, look, there's a problem in that the advisor is asking you to do 2 things: to create a comprehensive written lifetime financial planning strategy for this family, and then tactics to implement your strategies and tactics. To which the CFP said, absolutely, no problem. I said, I reviewed what you submitted to the advisor, and it was just a bunch of reports. He said, yeah, that we use financial planning software. The software prints out reports. So what you saw was a series of PDFs of different reports that were created by the financial planning software that we had created scenarios for this particular client family. I said, fine, but that's reports. And he went on to say, and very proud of this, we at our firm, because of our years of experience and our skill, we have created some additional reports we know clients really want to see in terms of where they are with their financial planning process. I said, okay, all that's good. But let's get back to the basics. What I have never did not see among everything that you created for this client is, in addition to the reports, so software. But my question is, where is this thing that the advisor has asked you to create, which is a comprehensive written lifetime financial planning strategy that pulls together all those reports and the tactics, the action items and recommendations that you have created for this client to required to implement your strategy and to remain on track? To which he says, yes, I have. Then he points back to the reports. So what it devolved into was sort of an argument over semantics. So I'm going to go through this with you so that you don't have a similar disconnect. Now, what I am describing is data-driven. The reason the financial advisor, the trusted advisor, asked this certified financial planner and all the other subject matter experts on their team to create a strategy and tactics is because this is what our method teaches them to do, because this is what clients expect. They expect for each of these areas of finance to have a comprehensive written lifetime financial strategy in each of the 5 areas of finance that's updated at least annually, and that there are tactics that are created and updated annually in order to implement the strategy. Just sticking with the strategy for a minute, I want to walk through it with you so that you don't just look a client in the eye who seems to be indicating that maybe they expect more from you, but they can't articulate it the way I can, because I've spent decades studying the data and I have studied what clients expect. If your objective is to exceed client expectations on a consistent basis, if your objective is to be radically different than all the other financial advisors that the client's used to working with, then pay careful attention to this, because you'll need to create this in each of the 5 areas of finance for your client. And it is really the answer, and what I kept repeating to this certified financial planner were the same words over. I came to the conclusion either he's unable or unwilling to understand and admit that he understands what I'm describing, which is nothing more than the client's standards. It's what the client expects. So let's walk through it. Comprehensive written lifetime, in this case, financial planning strategy. So what is meant by that? Comprehensive, let's start there. The strategy has to involve all the 5 areas of finance, if only to say there's very little involvement. But usually in each of the 5 areas, there is crossover, or let's call it overlap issues with the other 4 areas. So in the area of financial planning, in your strategy, you need to address all the financial planning issues relevant to this client in their situation with their current holdings and their current objectives. What are the financial planning issues that touch or overlap with tax? What are the financial planning issues that overlap and touch money management? What are the financial planning issues for this client in their situation with their holdings as it relates to overlap with estate planning, insurance? So it's really to comment as a skilled professional, here's your strategy as it relates to your situation involves each of these other 4 areas. So that's comprehensive. So comprehensive written lifetime financial planning strategy. What do I mean written? What format does it need to be in? It doesn't matter. It certainly doesn't matter to me. Now, maybe the client wants to see it in a certain format. Maybe if there's a lead advisor or a trusted advisor who's hiring you as a subject matter expert, maybe they have some preferences. But for me, and I've been doing this for a quarter of a century this way, I don't care the format. The format could be in a Word document. I've seen these comprehensive written lifetime financial strategies created as a PowerPoint or a keynote presentation. I've seen these comprehensive written lifetime financial strategies created in, it doesn't matter what software program. I've seen the strategy walked through in a spreadsheet format. I've seen it used with Adobe InDesign. Any method or format can work for me. It's just got to be comprehensive. It does need to be in writing. The key point there is, and we come across this not often, but occasionally, enough to comment about it, that the strategy that you're creating for the client must be created in a written form, meaning typed up or a document that you could present to the client if they asked for it. As opposed to, there are subject matter experts out there who say, yes, perfect. I will pick one of the other subject matter expert areas, tax. Yes, I will create a comprehensive written lifetime tax strategy for you. I will sit down and explain it to you. I will walk you through it. I'll make you understand it. So they think it's okay to just create the strategy in their mind and convey it verbally. No, comprehensive, written. Let's talk about lifetime. It's not just addressing what needs to happen in terms of strategy here and now. Yes, of course, that needs to be covered. But it also needs to cover the entire lifetime of the client. In the area of financial planning, let's say a family has qualified retirement accounts of some sort, some kind of individual retirement account or something. Let's say in their financial plan, their plan is, the goal is to start taking distributions, to be financially independent and start taking distributions from these accounts in their early 50s, let's say. There are some tax consequences for pulling money out of a retirement account in the US early. And we know, because they have retirement accounts, that there is also a time later in their life where they must begin taking distributions on a certain schedule. It's got to be comprehensive strategy in writing, covering their entire lifetime. So if there are things that you see that are relevant to this client with these holdings, with those objectives, some strategy down the road that will be relevant to them given their situation that they've laid out to you as a professional, it's got to cover all of those. So it's got to be comprehensive, written, lifetime. In this case, financial planning strategy, tax strategy, money management strategy. There needs to be a strategy in each of the 5 areas of finance, a separate, standalone, siloed strategy, which after each of those are created, then yes, the 5 subject matter experts come together and coordinate the strategy into a single seamless document. But where we need to pause is back it up. Each of the subject matter experts needs to be responsible for creating a strategy in their own area. So that's strategy. So this certified financial planner was feigning ignorance. When I said, need you to create a strategy, he kept conflating it with reports and software. I was thinking, it's probably my age, but I was thinking, I was thinking when I was talking to him, I did not say this, I probably should have, but it would have been insulting. I was thinking, do you ever wonder how this was done before financial planning software? So I've been in this business a long time, and I've been in this business where financial plans were created for clients long before there was any software available, long before there was anything like a spreadsheet, because it was before there were even personal computers that sit on your desktop. Have you ever wondered how this sort of planning was handled in the old days? It has not changed. When a client says, I want strategies and tactics, what they mean to say, and I'm just giving you more precise definition of what they mean, I need to see, in addition to the reports and the software and data entry and whatever that program spits out, I need the skilled professional, the individual that I'm hiring instead of using AI. I need my professional to create a comprehensive, written, lifetime financial planning, money management, tax, estate planning, insurance strategy. Okay. I need 5 strategies, which are then combined into a single strategy. But can you do that? I think that's what it boils down to. So I still don't know. Is this advisor just unable, just really doesn't know maybe too green, hasn't been doing this long enough, not able to create something like that? Or are they unwilling? I tend to think this particular advisor, it was more like I would need to charge more to create something like that. Okay, fine. Now we're talking. Now we're communicating. You now understand what the client expects. What's that going to cost to create that? It's a good question. Okay. So I don't want to get off track on what things cost, but I think now we're on a channel where we can communicate. Or is it the Dilbert factor that they think, and it seemed this way at the beginning? He seemed to be indicating, I'm already doing everything that you're describing, Mark. I looked at it and it is definitely not what I'm describing. It's literally just a bunch of reports. Yes, there was data entered into software. There were scenarios created in the software to achieve the objectives. It was fiddled with a little bit. But at that point, they just hit print and then, all these reports kick out. Then also there are a few custom reports, which I will admit are at a much higher level. The client would enjoy seeing those, but all of that are just addendums or attachments to what we're talking about. It's where a human skilled professional created a comprehensive written lifetime financial planning strategy in this case. Now, what about the tactics? This we went sideways also. So I came to the conclusion that this particular certified financial planner is either unable or unwilling to do what the clients are expecting. So what the problem was, it wasn't that this certified financial planner was not creating action items and recommendations, otherwise known as tactics, to implement the strategy. No, he was. It's just that they were all boilerplate, routine, templated for any client in that situation with these type of holdings. It was just this slew of I would call it boilerplate recommendations. He thought I was criticizing that. He went on and on about how I've spent years collecting the best advice in certain situations. And I said, no, let me make myself clear. I'm not criticizing routine recommendations for clients in a certain situation. If you think that's best practice for a client in this situation, I'm all for it. But let's be honest here. Those are routine. Those are boilerplate. Like in the case of a financial planner, a certified financial planner coming right out of college would likely come up with a lot of these boilerplate templated recommendations. Okay, fine. I'm talking about the clients expecting something above that. Now, it could be open to negotiation, how many, the quantity, and how much of a quality above that. But the way I always explain it to my subject matter experts, and I'm still a financial advisor, I tell my SMEs, look, I need 10 a year. Yes, create all the routine, all the boilerplate recommendations that are relevant for this client, customize them, as opposed to just putting them in a templated format. For example, I saw a recommendation that says, as when you're approaching your 70th birthday, I think it's 4.5 months before your 70th birthday, schedule a meeting with us to discuss Social Security. How about if you're creating this for a client and their birth date, it's actually usually 2 birth dates, his and hers. Why can't you look up the date and then plug that recommendation into the proper, at least customize it to the year and proper date for this client couple? But even then, it's still routine and boilerplate. What I tell my SMEs is I expect my clients expect at least 10 above average, impressive recommendations that rise above boilerplate routine recommendations that require some thought, that require some skill, that require someone of your skill and experience, I kept telling him, and that we're looking for 10 that rise above to the next level, to where the client looks at those 10 at least and says, wow, all of this is great, but these 10, how impressive. I would have never thought of any of that. You don't have to create them all at once. I tell my SMEs every 4 months, if you give me 3 or 4, I prefer that, because then you're having the SMEs to dig into the client's current situation throughout the year and updating their thoughts. But whether it's 10 per year or 3 or 4 every 4 months, I expect tactics, not just routine and boilerplate, but if you're going to work for my clients are multimillionaires, they could hire anybody. They could hire any kind of newly minted CFP right out of college to do all the routine and boilerplate recommendations. They're coming to me mainly because they're getting 5 strategies with tactics that 50 of which rise above the boilerplate routine recommendations. So why am I telling you all this? I'm telling you all this so that you don't have this confusion that this certified financial planner has. I feel like it was feigning ignorance. I think that at a certain point, this certified financial planner understood perfectly well that I was talking about something that requires a little more thought and a little bit more skill than just a templated boilerplate strategy with templated boilerplate recommendations and action items, or else otherwise known as tactics. So I'll leave you with that. I hope this helps. If you have questions, just shoot them in the comments below, and I'd be happy to make additional videos to dial this in. But I think that is what I wanted to convey. It was hot on my mind because I have these conversations all the time. I often cannot tell if the expert is unwilling or unable to meet the standards that are expected by affluent, successful clients. So hope this helps, and we'll see you next time.